Good morning. Good to see everyone. You guys got more beautiful while I was gone. For those of you who didn't know, I was in the Midwest for a couple months because it's hot here. And we wanted our son, Kisung, to spend time with his grandparents and to run around outside, and it was fun. But we're happy to be back. Thank you for that prayer. That was a very beautiful prayer. Wasn't that a good prayer? Yeah, it was beautiful. Whoever gets that girl's going to be a lucky guy. Ain't that right, Irvin? All right, so today I want to talk to you guys about a subject, and it's called When in Rome. So when in Rome, what do? You do as the Romans do. What was that? Immigrate to the United States? That's a good point. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, when in Rome, the saying goes, do as the Romans do. And the saying is basically, when you're in an environment, just blend in. Go with the flow. Don't stand out. But the question is, what if I don't like Rome? What if I don't like Romans? Should I do what the Romans do? What if the Romans are weird? What if they talk funny? What if they pick their nose? Do I still then do as the Romans do? And I think that what the subject is that so often we are taught just to blend in with our environment, conform, just, be part of the pack, do what everyone else does. When you guys were young or when you were a kid, did your parents ever say, well, so-and-so's kids are doing this? Oh man, I couldn't stand that. Well then, give birth to so-and-so, they're not that cool, their name's so-and-so, we're often taught, just be one of everybody. And so often, that's what happens. We just conform, blend in with our environment, and we do things, and we never take a chance to step back and think, is this really what I want to do? Is this really how I want to live? Is this really how I want to be, what everyone else is doing? It's just so easy because it's how we've always done things. It's normal. It's how everyone else does things. Oh, gosh forbid, we want to be a little different and stand out. Whew. I think we all go through this, and especially this guy does. Everyone meet Average Joe. Now, Joe, nothing too special, nothing too bad, average. Grew up, middle-class family, not too poor, not too rich, about average. Average-sized house, average-sized mom, which in the U.S. is bigger than most countries anyway. This is Average Joe. He moves into this Midwestern neighborhood, and he goes and the kids are like, hey, Joe, want to come play baseball with us? Sure. I'll come play baseball with you, and plays baseball. Then Joe goes to school with all these kids, and all of these kids start goofing around in class, so Joe goofs around with them. After they graduate, and Joe didn't get good grades, he didn't get bad grades, he got average grades. And all the kids are like, well, I'm going to college now, and Joe's thinking, yeah, I should go to college too. Doesn't go to a great school, not a bad school, average. And he goes to average school, and afterward, he has average debt, and then thinks, okay, what do I do next? And one of his friends comes up to him and says, oh, why don't you come work in my company? They have a job. Oh, sounds nice. Yeah, I'll come work at your job. And he goes there and and then when he goes to the job, what does he do? Does he look and see what the best people are doing? No. He just looks around him and sees what everyone else is doing and does that. It does you can guess it, an average job. And eventually, he gets an average-sized house with an average-sized wife, and just kidding. And he has kids and a family, and when he comes home from work, he walks into his house and goes, whew, I'm tired. It's not that he's really tired. It's just that's what his dad always said. But see, his dad came from a time when people really were tired. He worked in a coal mine. But that's what his dad did. He goes, I'm tired, and sat down and ate his average meal. And when he's done, he heard about people talking about a cool new series or anime, depends which tree you like barking up. And he decides to sit down and start watching it. And he says, okay, I'll just watch an hour. But then it's a Netflix thing. And if you know, when you're done with one, it already preloaded like the second one. And by the time he has a chance to think, it hits 100%. And it's already started. Well, if it already started, I should just watch some more. And eventually 4 hours go by. But see, this is normal. This happens every night. And eventually, his wife comes up to him, taps him on the shoulder. Joe, I think you should go to bed. You have work tomorrow. And he goes to bed and wakes up and starts it all again. And he goes with this until eventually he hits retirement, when he decides he really wants to start living, but then he's bored because he doesn't know what to do. And eventually he passes away around age 77, because that's the average lifespan. Now, is this a problem? If this is how Joe chooses to live, then no, it's not a problem. If this is Joe's dream, then it's fine. But did anyone ever tell Joe, hey, Joe, you have a choice. Hey, Joe, why do you always want to do what everyone else is doing? Do you know most people, when they pass away, they have like almost no money to their name? Many times, especially in this country, when people pass away, they barely have any family around. And yet, no one ever said, Joe, you don't have to live or do as everyone else does. In fact, you can dream bigger. In fact, you are a spiritual being. You are made in God's image. You can do whatever you put your mind to and you can accomplish. You can make any amount of money, have any type of family, live in any type of house. You can impact the world in any way you choose. Maybe Joe would have been like, oh, shoot. That sounds like a good idea. But so often it's not like that. Why? Not because he doesn't have the potential, not because he doesn't have the ability. It's because in his environment, that's what everyone else did. And he was taught from a young age, can't you just be like so-and-so? Oh, hold on. Do I go down? Left? There we go. This theme is about, was talked about ushering in the true children's era. And if we think about, true children, or if we think about children in general, what a part of children? Children are like sponges. We just soak up things and learn things as we see them. And if you are in a bad environment, then you're going to learn bad habits. But if you're in a good environment, then you're going to learn good habits. So if we think about being true children's era, if we're true children, we need to be able to soak up and sponge like a child true habits, true thinking, true thoughts, true way of life, true love. But see, that's the thing about kids. Kids don't really have a choice. As a child, you don't really get to choose what you accept, what you don't accept. You're a sponge. Probably so many of you act the way you do because that's how your parents acted. Sometimes you may find a person, have you ever noticed that? Some person has a very interesting quirk or a weird characteristic. Maybe they have a funny laugh. And whenever someone tells a joke, you always have that one person who laughs really awkwardly. And it's the joke's funny, but when they laugh, it all just feels awkward and you're laughing along. That's funny. You guys know what I'm talking about? And then, so this kind of person, this kind of laugh, and then all of a sudden, you walk up to this older gentleman, and he hears something funny, and you go, and you're like, wait, are you so-and-so's dad? Yeah, how did you know? Just, I don't know, guess, similar skin type, something like that. I like how some of you guys were laughing. You're like, that was a funny joke. We all kind of pick up these mannerisms. When I was a kid, I was in suburban area of Chicago, and my parents had a dream, and they wanted to make a workshop place for young people in Michigan. And so they moved us out to Michigan, and we moved to the countryside area. I mean, this was completely different than where I was growing up before. I was nervous because I didn't know what's a countryside area like. I had dreams like kids were fighting over one like dirty Air Jordan sneaker or something. You know, like, what's it gonna be like? And so I remember we were in this house. It's winter, and I thought I'm gonna walk to this corner store because it's only like 5 minutes away, and I'm gonna buy some candy. I was like 12, and I walk, and it was way more than 5 minutes. It was like 45 minutes. It was like freezing cold, and I eventually got there. And as I'm gonna go buy something, the cashier looks at me and she goes, "You're from Chicago, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah, how do you know?" "Oh, just by the way you walk and the way you talk." Now, what she meant to say is I was actually enunciating my syllables. That's what she meant to say. But it's like so different. So then I go to this school, and I went to a completely different school than I went before. This place was an academy, but it was called Countryside Academy. Completely different. I was like, Countryside Academy. We had like landscaping class and like some other different class you don't have in normal school. But this was an interesting blend. Like half of the school was like more from the countryside area, and half of the school was more from the urban area, like this inner city more style. And I made friends with the inner city kids, and we played basketball, and they introduced me to rap music, and eventually I started picking up a different way of talking. So then when I went back to Chicago, they go, "Hey, you're not from Chicago, are you?" And that was only like 3 or 4 months. And I had like a different way of talking. I'm like, "Yeah, how you know?" You know, like. And it's amazing how we pick up just different mannerisms from our environment. Actually, environment is so crucial. Who you surround yourself with and what environment you're in affects you. I don't care who you are always impacted by the environment you're in. Oh, that's Joe. That's Rome. This way? There we go. So what we need to do is we need to understand our environment is so crucial. Yet, how often do we just not even think about what we're doing? We just blend in, do what everyone else does. We need to be strong. We need to protect our mind because everything you're around is going to influence you. If you are around positive, uplifting, inspired people, you are naturally going to start to feel positive, uplifting, and inspired. If you surround yourself with people that like to complain, you're naturally going to want to start to complain. Have you ever had a friend or been with someone that they just love to talk about what's wrong with their life? And then when they do, it's like they always have something juicy to complain about. But the worst part is after you talk with that friend, do you ever find that you start to find more things to complain about? Or maybe you liked so-and-so person, and then all of a sudden you heard some things about them, and then all of a sudden you looked at them differently. Nothing that they did or said, it's just completely dictated by our environment. We need to protect our mind. What I'm saying is, and we need to build a wall. Not just any wall, huge wall. Okay, we have to protect ourselves from our environment. And we need to be able to create a wall and a space that we just don't let anything come into our mind that can affect us. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you have something that inspires you, that you want to become, you have to be very careful of what you allow yourself to be influenced by. You have to be very careful about those things. So I want to give a few tips of ways that you can help build your wall, your huge wall, and how you can help not be dictated by your environment. Jim Rome said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This is so true. When you spend a lot of time around with people, I don't care how good you are, how smart, how strong-willed, you're going to be affected. And you have to look in your life, and this is a hard part, because sometimes when you look and you think, okay, who are the 5 people I spend the most time with? The question you want to ask yourself is, are they living life the way I want to live? Or do they have what I want? And the scary part is that if we look at the people we end up spending time with, many times people on that list, the answer is no. And the question is then, like, why do we spend time with them? Well, we've always spent time with them. And this is when I was first thinking about this, it was very conflicting. Because I thought, like, what are you saying? I'm not supposed to love these people? I'm just supposed to cut off from the people I've spent the time? Sometimes these people are the people closest to you. Sometimes it's your own family. And it can be hard. And what we're saying here is you don't have to necessarily cut off completely, but if you understand how important your mind is, how important your environment is, you can't afford to surround yourself with the wrong people. How often do you hear parents say, like, if my son just didn't hang out with those people, he would be good. My son, Billy's a good boy. You know, like, he's a good boy, just hangs out with the wrong crowd. The problem is their parents were probably saying the same thing about Billy, but who we spend time with is so important. What happens is when you spend time with people, you start to believe their reality is your reality. For those of you who know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building an e-commerce business. One of the best things I did is I started to go to an event where really successful e-commerce people go. Because when I started, it was like making a certain amount of money. I thought that was impossible. That was scary. That was a big deal. And I go to these events, and I see people making like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 100 times what I thought was impossible. And I thought, whoa, it's not so strange. It's actually normal. Everyone else is doing it. Not only that, I was like, if that person can do it, wait, he's making that much money? Well, if he can do it, I can do it. You start to build belief. When you're around an environment of people that think the way you want to think, that live the way you want to live, it has a synergistic effect. It builds confidence. You start to believe you can accomplish your dreams. You start to believe you can accomplish your goal. You start to believe that you can be, have, or do anything you want. And so if you're around people that ridicule you, if you're around people that put you down, is that going to help you accomplish your goals? If you want to be a person of true love, and yet you're around people that just hook up with other people all the time, or womanize, or use people for their gain, you have to think, is that going to help me accomplish my goal? But the hardest part is we're so used to being around these people. What do you think? If we think about our guy, Average Joe, what would happen if Average Joe one day put his pencil on his desk and said, guys, I can do more than this. I'm going to start this company, and it's going to help billions of people in the world, and I'm going to help them find families and true love, and I'm going to follow this movement, and I'm going to learn these principles. What happens if he started talking like this? Do you think his friends would be like, yeah, you go, Joe? They're going to be like, you? Come on, your mom named you Average. Like, how in the world, Average Joe, are you going to think you're going to accomplish that? You know, sometimes we get scared when people when there's change. It's a human nature. People get scared, and when someone else is changing, we start to feel a little insecure. And especially the really bad part is when people feel more insecure because they feel if you're going for your goals and living life the way you want to live, then they feel less because they're just going with the flow. They're just being average, and so people ridicule you. And how sad is it that people will ridicule, will mock, will make fun of someone that has a dream to be more? In our society, how silly is it that we have a society that treats people like that? But even how more silly is it that we believe them? How more sad is it that when people say things or mock or do those things, we believe it to be true? That's the most sad part. If you find the 5 people you spend the most time with, that some of them are not serving you, you're going to have to be brave, and you're going to have to spend less time with the people. But Jonathan, what if it's family? Go less often, spend less time. What if they're my friends since childhood? Talk to them less. Still talk, just not as much. And if you ever hear people in your environment start complaining, talking, doing things that you don't feel are really beneficial to you, you have to put that wall in your mind. Don't let it seep in. It's too powerful. It's too toxic. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just say, you can even think in your head, I know what you're saying. You think it's your reality, but it doesn't have to be mine. Surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you, that are going to help you in your journey, that are going to support healthy relationships. One thing I strongly believe in, I think families based on true love is going to revolutionize the world, but it's also going to provide you the most depth and real joy in life. If that's what you believe, yet you're around people that don't believe that want to encourage you, oh, don't worry about that relationship, don't worry about your wife, just hook up with someone. You got to cut off. If you have a dream, you want to be something, do something more, yet people are telling you you can't, but it's your dream, you got to cut off. Surround yourself with people that are going to support you, that have what you want. If you're with someone and you feel like, wow, I love being around them, I love what they stand for, I love the people they are, then you know you're on the right track. If you hang out with people here, more than likely you're going to feel that way. Especially in this room, we have a lot of, I don't want to say elder, more experienced people. And all of them made a choice. When they heard the truth of this movement, when they heard the principles of true love, they made a choice that they wanted to stand for something in their life. And, a lot of praise and honor has to go because I'm sure it wasn't easy. Many times, we call them the first generation of our movement. They were the ones ridiculed, persecuted, yet they stand strong what they believed. But we have to be like that all the time. So be careful of who you surround yourself with. And gosh forsake that you want to just be cool. Oh, man. In high school, sometimes I didn't want to do things because I just wanted to be cool. One of the memories, I think I shared it before, is I remember all these kids were picking on this one girl because she was not as physically attractive. And they would pick on her so bad that she would just run out of the school crying. And what I feel bad about is not that I didn't pick on her. It's just I didn't stand up for her. I knew what I knew what they're doing wasn't right. But gosh forbid that if I stand up for her, then I'm going to get picked on. And then I'm not going to be considered cool. What's interesting is a lot of those people that I thought were quote-unquote cool now have multiple divorces, they work a simple job, and they don't really accomplish much in life. Be very careful about looking cool. You want to look and think about what your heart is telling you want to live in your dreams. That's pretty darn cool. Next thing is be careful what you see. Now this, especially for the younger audience, but I think for all of us, it gets hard. Be careful what you see, especially in media. So many things, I actually wonder, as now more and more people spend time on YouTube and watching TV, I really wonder if we form our perceptions of reality based on what the television shows or videos showed us. And if you're watching certain movies, certain videos, you can start to think about life differently. In media, their number one job is to get you to be entertained and watch more so that they can make more money. That's the number one rule. Many times they don't show images that are wholesome, images that are going to help you accomplish your dream. Sometimes when you view these images, it can completely change how you look at love, how you look at the opposite sex, how you look at sex. You can create all these false expectations and realities that in the end aren't really going to help you. That aren't going to help you live a true life, aren't going to help you live a life based on true love. Oh, but it's so exciting, it's so entertaining. Sometimes we say those things, oh, it's just a movie, it's just a show. But if you do these things day after day, it has an effect on you. It has an effect. I saw it a lot when I went to Asia recently in April. April, I went to China, Japan, and Korea. And their media is different. I mean, they're not a perfect country at all, but like their commercials, their media is so different, and I got used to it. Then when I came back here and I turned on the commercial, and they're advertising beer, but there's no beer, there's just women in bathing suits. And I was like, wait, what kind of commercial is this? And then at the end, Budweiser, something like that. And there's not a single thing about beer on there, And I realized, whoa, this is different. I just got so used to it before. But I'm like, whoa, this is weird, actually. Is this even the best for me to watch this kind of stuff? Sometimes when I get like on a really good, like I feel like I'm on fire. I can accomplish my goals. I got my brain in a good place. Sometimes I watch like a certain movie, and if it's got like a dark theme or something, I just start to feel myself go down. And it's interesting, because in the past, I didn't feel like that. In the past, it just felt normal. It was cool. I enjoyed watching it. What you're going to know is that as you get to a higher and higher and higher level, spiritually, mentally, certain things aren't going to be as fun as they used to be. And certain things aren't going to seem as cool. So be careful. Be careful what media you watch. Be careful what you watch. And if something's on there really strong and it doesn't align with your values, you don't have to watch it. I can't believe how many times I see people in a movie theater, and you know who you are, but you're like, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Then why did you stay? Oh, because I bought the ticket already. Like, we bought the ticket, so I'm just going to watch this thing that's making me miserable. It blows my mind. Like, go outside and watch grass grow. Like, it's way more fun. At least it's growth, But yet we do these kind of things. So be careful what you watch. The other thing, be careful what you hear. This is really hard, and I'm speaking a lot to the young people, but it doesn't matter how young or old you are. Always the older generation always says, can you believe what the young people are listening to? Our parents had their parents telling them the same thing. So I was like, okay, I know like lyrics aren't so good, so I'm just going to go on, and I'm going to see if I can find examples of like bad lyrics to a song that won't make us happy. So I went on the top like 100 billboards, and I clicked the first song. I'm like, oh, there's something. Then I clicked the second song. Oh, there's something. Then I clicked the third song. Oh, there's something. Eventually, I'm like, let's see if we can find a song that doesn't have anything. But this is so hard because it's catchy. It's good. You're like, yeah, I like this song. Sometimes we don't even think about what the words are. It just sounds cool. And we're jiving, we're moving. When I had this big epiphany, there was a song by Katy Perry. Does everyone know Katy Perry? Yeah, later on, she developed more like wholesome songs, but there was this one song in particular that was really catchy and everyone liked. It was called like Last Friday Night or something. And the whole song, what it's about, is like it starts off with, oh, there's a stranger in my bed. Oh, there's broken chandeliers. Oh, we got warrants for our arrest. Oh, we drank things we didn't know what they are. Oh, we just hooked up and had relationships with two different people at the same time. Oh, we did all this. Wow, what a night. Let's do it all again. But it's so dang catchy, so people sing it. And I remember one time I'm like, why am I singing this song? This is 100% different than how I want to live. She's saying, just enjoy right now. Who cares about tomorrow? Who cares about what your life's like? Just enjoy now because you're so insecure. Your life is so insignificant that you just need to feel a little bit of joy now at the expense of everyone else, and who cares if you throw your future away? But dang, it's catchy. Sounds cool. Be careful what music you're listening to, because when you're singing the words, and especially when you're not even thinking what the words are, you're putting that in your mind. It becomes more normal. Hear something once, strange. Hear something again and again and again, and the more normal it becomes. It's actually getting pretty sad now in our society that like school shootings, at least for me, aren't as impactful as they first were. That's what happens. When we start to hear things again and again and again, it becomes normal. So sometimes wrong messages are hidden in a catchy tune, in a cool tune. And it's justified because it's cool, because it sounds good. Now, am I here to tell you what music to listen to? Not at all. It's a weird thing, but everyone has their standard. I call it the standard of catchiness. Everyone has some standard of how far they'll let the lyrics go, as long as it's catchy, until it's too much that they can't listen to it anymore. You're going to have to decide what that is for you. But be careful about the music you listen to, because it will affect you. And the last thing is, I've studied under a lot of people, and I've studied a lot of great thought leaders. And one of the things that I've seen as a common theme again and again and again is if you want to be successful, if you want to do big things in your life and be fulfilled, you got to study. In our unification tradition, Reverend Moon brought in a daily practice called hundake. And that is where every day you study. Because what's happening is when you're studying good thoughts, true principles, and you're putting that into your mind. People often say, sometimes people often say, be careful of that, you're going to get brainwashed. When we know about environment, it doesn't matter who you are, your environment's going to brainwash you anyway. Why do people do what they do? Because that's what they've always done. Why are people living a certain way? Because it's normal. And everyone lives small because they're so worried about what the neighbors are going to think. But guess what? The neighbors don't think. They also just do what everyone else is doing. So we got to put good principles in our head because it's so easy. In this environment here, you can feel so inspired. I know yesterday there was a workshop preparing for marriage or an event, and I heard all the guys were playing Kick the Can. That sounds cool. One person, Hayato, who's here, he was saying, I felt like a kid again. I'm like, that's so cool. I don't care how old you are. We all need to play Kick the Can together. But when you're in that environment, it's so easy to be inspired, to think, yeah, I want to live this way. But once you leave and go out there, people don't talk the same way. Things are different. Go to public school, not everyone came from loving parents, It's so easy to be influenced. That's why every day you need to put correct principles in your mind. It's too easy to be influenced. It's too easy to be susceptible to our environment. When I'm around certain type of people enough, their way of thinking becomes normal. When I'm around another type of people, their thinking becomes normal. Be careful who you surround yourself with. When you study both Bible, divine principle, you actually see it's called the providence of restoration. It's God preparing and guiding humankind from a point of basically being lost in love to a point where they can attain true love. And you'll notice, before God does anything, he always prepares the environment. You'll see stories of people going years and years and years lost and wandering just in order to prepare an environment. You'll see people needing to leave their environment in order to make a big life change. Because in their certain environment, they could never make that decision. If ever you want to make a change in your life, if you're like, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired, put yourself in an environment of positive people, and then you can make that choice. Many times, big events, and many people here, actually probably the day you decided to change your life, I bet you're at some type of event, a workshop, a gathering, a group of positive people that can help you make that decision. In the Bible, I have a few quotes that kind of warn about being careful of what environment you're in. The eye is the lamp of the body, so if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. I will set before my eyes no vile thing. The deeds of faithless men I hate, they will not cling to me. And then from Reverend Sun Myung Moon, you always are your worst enemy. Always check yourself, your own eyes, your ears, your mouth, your idle body. You must recreate your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, and your arms and legs so that you can live entirely for God and his will. In the end, life is beautiful. There's so much we can live for. Majority of society does not use I've heard we only use like 1% of our brain. Majority of people don't have fulfilled lives. And they look for simple things to fill the emptiness because they don't like the way they're living. And they watch the 4 or 5 hours of Netflix every night, when they could have maybe watched for 1 hour and spent the other 3 hours planning their next big thing for their dreams. Most people complain. I don't know if you noticed it. Complaining is pretty normal. Most people love to talk about what's wrong in the world. But we don't have to be like that. We can be different. Find the dream in your heart and surround yourself with the people that are going to help encourage you. And if you find that you're with people, I don't care how close they are, but if you're with people that are not helping you go to that goal, you're going to have to cut off more. And you have to surround yourself with the right kind of people. It's scary, but yeah, it takes bravery. If you're around media, music, things that you don't agree with, but everyone else thinks it's cool, be strong. You don't have to listen to those kind of things. You don't have to be like everybody else. But your environment is so important. When you put yourself in the right environment, you can succeed. If someone came here to me and said, oh, why did you move to, if I said to someone, hey, why did you move to Vegas? I came here to grow corn and be a corn farmer. I'm going to smile and laugh because, man, you picked the wrong environment. But actually, it's the same thing. If you want to sow the dreams in your heart, if you want to grow and accomplish whatever it is in your life, put yourself in the right environment to succeed. Surround yourself with the right people, and you will see big changes in your life. And always ask yourself, when you're around people, things, media, is this how I want to live? There was once a phrase and it was said, if you see everyone going one way, go the other way, and you will never make another mistake in your life. So let's be careful of our environment. Let's put ourselves in the right place at the right time so that we can grow and we can do the things in our heart we know we can do and be the people we know we can be. Join me in prayer.
If you gotta start somewhere, why not here? If you gotta start sometime, why not now? If we gotta start somewhere, I say here. If we gotta start sometime, I say now. Through the fog there is hope in the distance. From cathedrals to third world missions, love will fall to the earth like a crashing wave. Tonight's the night when the sinners and the saints, two worlds collide in a beautiful display. It's all love tonight when we step across the line, we sail across the sea to a city with one city on our knees, a city on our knees. If you gotta start somewhere, why not here? If you gotta start sometime, why not now? If we gotta start somewhere, I say if you gotta start sometime, I say now. Through the fog there's hope in the distance. From cathedrals to third world missions, love will fall to the earth like a crashing waves. Tonight's the night when the sinners and the saints, two worlds collide in a beautiful display. It's all love tonight. Step across the line, we sail across the sea to a city with one king, a city on our knees, across the line. We can sail across the sea to a city with one key, a city on our knees, a city on our knees, city on our knees, city on our knees. If you gotta start somewhere, why not here? If you gotta start sometime, why not now?
Thank you.
But fortune lies beyond the stars. Those dazzling heights too vast to climb. I go so high to fall so far. But I found heaven as love swept low. My heart beating, my soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A world falling, spirit soaring. I touch the sky when my knees hit the ground.
What treasure was in your skies? This gift of freedom gold can't buy. I bought the world and sold my heart. You traded heaven to have me again. My heart beating,
My soul breathing. I found my life when I lay it down. A bird falling, spirit soaring. I touch the sky when my knees hit the ground. Find me here at your feet again. Everything I am, reaching out, I surrender. Come sweep me up in your love again, and my soul will dance on the wings of